doesn't have a screener on file. So if you're getting a new student who transfers over, you want to make sure that you get them screened. And any student who really just doesn't have a screener on file. And one more. Any student you have a concern about. So, but let me see. Okay, yeah, so all those kindergarten students, any enrollment of student entering without record, transfer students, and then we want to notify parents of concern. I'll talk to you about that in a little minute. So you guys are coming into a brand new school year. We do have binders completely full of student screeners, right? Everyone's been screened at your school. However, you are a different set of eyes. You're a different set of perspectives. I would highly recommend just starting over. If you want access to your student screener, they are on campus, they are on site, your registrar has them. But best bet, it's nice to know it came from you and it came from your site in your home. Okay, so I would just recommend starting over, but site decision. One thing that we really have to do, and I understand why this is the law, we have to notify parents of concern within 10 school days. Okay, and this is really important because we don't want to start putting a student through a child studying team and start talking about special education and accommodations without notifying that parent. It's scary all of a sudden your kid was in kindergarten and now they're being tested for special ed. That's just not fair to anybody. So always keep them in the loop, and really after 10 days, this will be a responsibility of your child defined coordinator, site decision. If your child defined coordinator wants to send it out, fantastic. If it's you, the gen ed teacher that sends it out, that's fantastic too. Okay, so that you'll decide that yourself. Timelines, here we are again, 45 calendar days, that's a big one, 45 calendar days. All right, in your packet, you have a screener, right? So you're beginning of the school year, all your kiddos are coming in. I'm sure you are overwhelmed, right? Getting settled, getting in your routines. Give it time, let them settle, because truly you're not gonna see that true student until probably about 30 days, right? That 30 days, the honeymoon period's over, and you're gonna start finding out who they really are. So give them some time, and you want to complete the 6th screener. Pretty simple, within 45 days. And then you want to hand this off to your child finding coordinator. And the reason I'm suggesting that you hand it off to your child finding coordinator is because I've also seen sometimes we'll say things maybe in social, emotional, or adaptive that my kindergartner will not sit still. It's kind of just basic for kindergarten, right? Or communication issues. And then we find out, like we did some research and background, he's an English language learner, right? So check with your child find coordinator. When you decide your child find coordinator, I'll meet with them later to talk about more in depth of when you should really go seek out that teacher and say, hey, you noted a concern, I just want to talk to you a little bit about it, right? Because we don't want to scare parents when it's something silly, or if it's just classroom management, right? So we want to address those issues first.
I have a question.
Yes.
I've always seen schools do this differently. 45-day screener, is it within the first 45 school days or 45 calendar days? Because to your point, like, I've had schools be like, it's the first 45 calendar days, but you're like, oh, it's the second week of school, or third week of school, we gotta fill it out, so I'm just wondering.
No, calendar days. And that's where AD has gotten really upset with us because we were doing school days. But if you have a kid with a concern and you don't screen them for 45 calendar days, or right, calendar, or school days, right? We're looking at 9 weeks or so.
Yeah.
That's a long time for that kid to not be getting interventions or whatever he needs.
So just to clarify, our kids come to campus the 5th, that's 10 days of camp where we're not with them. That counts towards 12 days on this, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. That's great.
I just
Thank
wanna
you.
be mindful.
No, that's really good. Because yes, I could see that happening too, right? Because we're thinking when they get in my classroom, that's when I'm going to start analyzing and assessing and all that kind of stuff and really looking at them. And that's fine too. Just know that, once they get in your room, you still have 30 days, which I still think is ideal and practical for that kid to settle in. And if you do get the chance, maybe even talking to that individual who is with those kids those first 10 days and ask them, is there anybody that stood out to you? That might go ahead and be that radar for you to start looking at you all. Okay? And then here's the copy of the letter. Your child finding coordinator will talk about this when I meet with them. They'll fill out those letters. And remember, that has to go home within 10 days of the screener. So here's 45 days plus 10 days. You're really looking at 55 days. Okay, and that's for a kid you're concerned about. And for some of our kids, like I said, they'll come in right away, and I'll talk about that in a second. They're like, oh my gosh, we gotta do something. Other kids take some time, so allow that time to settle. This is just a resource for you. I will provide a resource link. I'll send out my PowerPoint. What I see a lot of challenging is, as I mentioned with the ADHD and stuff and wiggly students, is really with social and emotional development. Sometimes we're not always aware of what kids this age should be doing. So make sure you try to do a little investigation, do a little research if you're not sure, okay? What that student is or what they should be doing. And then plus this is just good information to know what your kids should be doing in this classroom, right? What they should be working towards and where they should be growing. Social emotional is huge, and without these skills, we really cannot develop cognitive. So this is that EL population that I talked about. So really, when we're looking at a student who's also English language learning and also possibly has a cognitive disability, we really want to make sure, or even a speech and language impairment, we really want to make sure that that comes across in both his native language and in English, okay? That'll be a big part of it when we have those conversations. We'll practice. I can send that out to you guys later. You can try to follow the video. I'll tell you, this is a student that the teacher's kind of observing, and then you would fill out your screener, okay? So, if you fill out your screener, say you watch that video, and now there are concerns, what should you do? So, like we mentioned, we want to send that screener over to the Child Find Coordinator, right? Have that conversation with them, especially if there's concerns. Notify the parents of the concerns, and then you guys want to discuss what are you doing next. Okay, so if that kid comes in and he's a little wiggly and he's in kindergarten and she's like, I really don't see it, let's just kind of keep an eye on him for, I mean, hopefully you haven't hit that maybe 45 days yet. You cannot go over that 45 days, okay? So if you have a kid with a concern, you might want to talk to that individual and say, hey, we're coming up on 45 days, I have a concern, what do we want to do? If we're just going to watch him a little bit in the classroom, we can document that. A lot of this one refers students for vision and hearing screening. Student fails their hearing screening or their vision screener, you want to go ahead and use the referral form. That's also in your packet. Your Child Find Coordinator will take care of that. They also say this is a big one that sometimes we want to push kids through special education, and it could just be a simple hearing problem. Okay, our kids, we know our kids, we know what we're supporting the servicing. They don't always need to go to the doctor like some other kids do. Okay, so these are important things: vision and hearing.
For the vision and hearing, PCH will do the hearing and screening too, so like if a kid doesn't visit the hearing or do the screening, you can refer them, like tell somebody like, hey, can you put Johnny on the clinic for Friday because I'm concerned about their hearing? And then we have a relationship with Nationwide Vision for eyeglasses, and then PCH will refer the kids for like hearing aids or whatever.
That's awesome. And hopefully Hope has the same access to those things. We're working
Yeah,
on
we
it.
haven't met with PCH about when they're.
Next week.
Next week. And then that's when they'll let us know what day of the week the bus will be on campus.
Because that's huge. If you find out there's something going on and you can provide that intervention like glasses, or even say there's a hearing issue and we can find out even deeper what's going on, that right there can help us. That's an intervention, right? We document it, we put it down, and we continue to watch the growth and the progress in the classroom. And we mentioned this earlier, which is awesome, requesting that parent conference. I have concerns, but let me check with that parent and make sure that maybe there's not a history of special education in a different school. Okay, because sometimes our kids are migrant, they're very migrant. So they might have had something even started at another school. So talking to that parent might give you some insight, like you don't have to work so hard, like go ahead and pick up where that school left off and start your CST process. Okay, so that's your child study coordinator, talking with them. Your CST process is your teacher assisting, your teacher assisting student process is what you're doing in the classroom. That's your teacher. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Inform your special education teacher, the student's history of special education. These are just good things to do, okay? So you just need to make a plan of action. What are you doing for a student if you have a concern? Okay, so you're at the, I'm sorry. So if you have a concern for a student, we do have a process, right? So once you have concern for a student, and in your packet, you should have this flow chart. I believe there's first the ABE flow chart, and then this is our district flow chart for a 45-day student. Okay, so once you conduct your 45-day screener, and there's concerns noted, if there's not, Then you go ahead and you're gonna submit your screener to your your child find coordinator, and then you're done. Awesome, makes it easy. However, if there are concerns, you're gonna submit your screener to your coordinator and talk about what are your next steps, right? And then you're also gonna notify the parent within 10 days, hey, we have a concern about our kiddo. And then you need to begin this child study process. Okay, the child study process is a packet, and it walks you right through this, makes it pretty simple. Your teacher assisting students, this is you in your classroom, this is you by yourself. This is a student that is below grade level, he just got there. What are you doing in your classroom to intervene for that student? Okay, so hopefully we're doing some maybe tiered instruction, here's 80%, my tier 1, then you move to the next tier, tier 2, I'm pulling small groups, we're working through that, and writing the interventions down, we're working on, then you maybe, and then he's still not getting it, then it's okay, let's do something else here, right? Issues resolved, no further action, he does fantastic in small group, this is working. It's not working, continue the process. Now you're moving to your teacher assisting team, right? So you're opening it up to more than just you. And you know, in education, it's so much better to get those different perspectives and people with different tools in their belt. So when you open it up to your teacher assisting team, you guys are gonna meet and you're gonna discuss things that you've already tried, and you're gonna take in new ideas. Okay, if the issues are resolved, awesome, this works, we're done. And if it doesn't work, we need to continue the process. This is where you start getting, the parent comes to the meeting and we're filling out the referral form basically. Okay, because each one of these steps, the teacher assisting student, teacher assisting team, both of those are 4 to 6 weeks process, right? So if we look at it, we got 12 weeks here, there's no reason to continue another 6 weeks. That would be crazy. If your kid's not getting it in 12 weeks, let's go ahead and start this week, right? Let's go ahead and start that child study team and go ahead and bring that parent in. There's a referral form that you'll fill out and you'll take that directly to your child study, or your child coordinator will be in that. But then it comes to me and we set up that MAT1, okay? So this is a packet that you would work through for a student you had concerns about. And this is each site should have a pre-referral intervention manual, which is a list. If you were out of ideas and you had no idea what to do for this kid, this would be a good place to start your referral, right? But I think you guys have a lot of tools in your belt where you would be able to just have conversations about kids and find out different tools, things that work for them. Okay, so is there ever a time to skip the child study process without delay? Yes, given the advice of your child find coordinator. This should be somebody who's pretty good with instruction, good with classroom management, lots of tools in their tool belt, right, to offer you resources. So if they come in and they see this kid and they're like, yeah, let's just go check it out, what are you talking about? And they say, no way, let's go ahead and
Do I have another one?
contact your special ed director.
Okay,
and
I'll get you one.
also the MAT one, right? The other way to do it, so that's our parent, the other way to do it is parent referral. Your parent referral, this is another one of those big timeline things. It goes directly to the child find coordinator. Literally that day that you get it, it needs to go directly to your child find coordinator. Because now we gotta involve a whole team. We gotta involve a whole team, likely. So the parent can refer their child to special education. It should be a written request, right? Verbally, all right, mom, thanks for doing the child study, or the child study team. And it's, we're working through it here at school. Please trust us in our professionalism, right? That's great. Parents like, no way, I talked to an advocate, here's my letter. Usually it's an advocate, they come with a written request because somebody is told them to do it. Right? So that, don't hesitate because somebody else is on the back end pushing them. Okay, so I have 15 school days at that point to respond. So one thing, we can respond in one or two ways. We either start the evaluation process, we start the MAT1, we bring all the team together, we talk about all the data you've been collecting this far to this point, all the child's previous educational history and all that good stuff, right? And that's where I probably have had a ducks in a row meeting to talk to the team or everybody that works on campus to know that, all right, this is the route we're going. The other route is, I can just provide that parent with a written notice for refusing to conduct the evaluation. And it hasn't happened often. It hasn't happened yet. I think we've received maybe one request in writing, And then we moved forward with that. We did move forward with that. That's right, we had attendance issues. So there's lots of reasons why your school would not move forward with an evaluation. One of them might be lack of data. I've gotten half-done child find packets, no parent letters. Please go back and help your student. Work on some interventions. Special education is not the solution to things, it's support, it's help. We really need to be doing things in that classroom and keeping that kid amongst their peers to really build those social emotional skills, problem solving skills, all that good stuff. We truly want your kids to be amongst other kids. It's the best thing for them, right? So lack of data, I'm gonna say you need to go back and try a little harder, right? Let's get that parent letter. But obvious adverse impact. So this one is there's a questionnaire that I'll pull out during the meeting and ask the parents some questions that'll help guide me to find out what's really going on. Just last year, we had a parent who showed up with a letter, all that good stuff, but the attendance was 84 missing school days. And I just don't think, and it wasn't because of the student didn't have an emotional disability that rendered them from coming to school and all that kind of stuff. It was a parent issue. Parents tired. I don't wanna get up that early, I don't wanna take them to school. There's maybe some other things that we can look into for resources, but that is not a special education issue. And an evaluation costs $450 just for the testing. If I want them to do start to finish, it's $750. So we want to be very mindful, and I have no problem evaluating students who truly need it and particularly try everything. Okay, there's always a route. But we have to be mindful and make sure that parents are doing what they need to do at home too. Okay, we're not the answer. Different things too, economic disadvantages. Sometimes these are interesting, like you missed all this school because of family illnesses. It's not special education. Environmental or juvenile detention, this is a big one. Sometimes that community experience, I'm homeless, drugs. Sorry, that's not special education. You made some bad choices and we can help you in other ways, but it's not through special ed. Limited English proficiency. If they are fluent in their native language, this is not a special education issue. This is some accommodations and things we need to do in the classroom. Okay, so we'll go through this and we'll have these conversations during that one. And maybe even that ducks in a row in a meeting to determine if we really need to move forward. Do we really need to bring the whole team together? And we spent 2 hours of our instructional time to do that. We want to make sure that, yeah, it's important and we do, okay? So timelines, as I mentioned, huge. There we go, take this. So birth to 5, someone comes to you, says, hey, my kid's got some things going on. Get that immediately to your child find coordinator so I can have conversations with them for me. And I get to easy IEP. Screening, 45 calendar days. Parent notification of concern, 10 days. Then I got some resources up there that I'll send out so you can receive them. Any questions?
So, what I would just like want your kind of perspective or like on this. Students who come and we know that they're like say they're below grade level or not, and we know this, but we know like attendance has been an issue or they've like moved schools a bunch, and we do the intervention, we do small group, and they're not like caught up to grade level in like 12 weeks. Like, how do we handle that as far as like you're still like a couple years behind, but we're like doing interventions for you? And it's like hard to determine the root cause and like how to proceed.
For that one, we would really have to look into, get more information too, right? If this is a student who hasn't been in school for a while and he's making growth just simply by being in school, I'd say keep going, go stronger, go harder, what's happening to
So like notify parent and.
Yeah, let them know your kid's below grade level. I just think that's important because I would hate for it to get to the point where, okay, he does need special ed and no one ever said anything to mom or dad.
Yeah.
Or even if they decide to go to an outside agency and do independent testing, it's like, hey, we know there's a concern, but we're doing our part here, we're working with them. The other thing too, with that too, it's like, if your entire class average is below grade level, that's an entire class intervention. It's not really special ed or individualized instruction.
Yeah.
You need to do things for everybody. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
And if you have a case or a situation, sure, let's talk about it. It is, some of this is case by case. It's so weird. If I hear something, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and test that kid.
I would love more information on if you have a student and you're more interested in getting them on like 504. So maybe like parents are very like, oh, he has ADHD, like he is not necessarily a learning disability, but that is
Totally nonsense.
Is that a different process? Do we go through child study, or is it like, oh, let's communicate, we know there's a specific issue, here's how we progress it?
And now, if a parent comes to you with a medical situation and they need to go to the nurse, that's pretty easy, it's a 504, bring your child study coordinator in. It wouldn't necessarily be me yet, because I don't like to cross the line for special ed just yet, till I get involved. Use the resources on your campus to do what you can before you bring in some specialized instruction or supplemental materials like that. But
So we talk to our coordinator and say, hey, we're looking at a 504, we don't necessarily need to progress to child study.
you know, if it's something that's not
Like,
very
if it's
obvious,
on board and, okay.
definitely. 504 is definitely one of those CST meetings. To bring the parent in, hey, we're gonna go ahead and move on with the 504.
Usually, and the coordinator is not the special ed teacher.
I don't wanna say that, cause it's different in every district. Alan has been the coordinator, right, before, at a different district?
At a different district, but I was talking to Savina, our registrar, she said that she handled it in the past over here, so
I think like they do the organization of paperwork type things, but I would definitely recommend your coordinator who's sitting and facilitating, like go back and check on that concern, is somebody who's very good in instruction and classroom management.
Sonia
Because
did
that's
like,
gonna eliminate
for
some
Esperanza,
of that.
Sonia like, when we had new students come in, like at the beginning of the year, the teachers did the 45-day screener. And then if we had students come in, Sonia would like fill out all of their information, like former school and all of that, their birthday and all of that. And then she would give it to you, you guys would, well, the teachers would give it back to Sonia, Sonia would give it to me. And then I would look at it and I would sign off on it and then put it back in the binder. So,
Right, and so those will, and that was last year, so those will always like same kind of protocol, but all site decisions, it doesn't have to be, it's who you guys determine is somebody that.
But
you
actually,
want to
you
be
spoke pretty clearly when we were talking about this, that you would like a teacher on each campus
I think that'd be
to
fantastic.
be the coordinator. I mean, maybe
Ideas,
Andrew,
tools.
or, I mean, you guys can decide, obviously, who that's gonna be, but it needs to be somebody who knows instruction.
I think so, definitely. And then they would just help you determine what are your next steps and sign off on it. And then I'll meet with that coordinator probably quarterly, maybe early, two times or something, just so you have a good feel for it, right? We wanna do the right thing for kids. I mean, last year we probably only qualified one kid for special education for speech and language, and it was just because we were not being consistent with progress monitoring or the CST process. And I know there's more out there, there's no doubt, but I gotta be able to back it up. I can't write a report based on nothing. And I will ask for lots of data, so keep that stuff.
If you do a 45-day screener, and then like in January, you realize that somebody's just not making progress, you can still
Great
refer
question.
them for CST.
Go back to your screener, so take another
So go
screener,
back?
Mhm, start all over again, go back, but do it right away, don't wait for it.
You know what I mean, like if you do it originally, and
I
you
hear
didn't
you.
notice anything, and then later on in the school year, you have more concerns.
Yes,
More
That's when
data,
you
more
start to do another one?
Right, yes,
And then start
and
it.
start it right over, just so, because I will ask for that screener when we get together, but on that one, where are we, what's the hearing, vision, what did you guys do every time, so, yeah.
actually, you get Chromebooks for all of the sites.
Do you have one anywhere?
I have, I'll share it, but I have mine.
Okay, no, we need electronic copies, which would be fantastic, so we can share those out too. My emails just actually got well there, I didn't see, it's here, see them. Do you have any questions?
I'm thinking to, I don't know if you guys have a system, but to document your interventions, maybe we could create a Google Doc on a certain kid, and then we have access to it. for-
Ellen already yelled at me, because I have everything in paper, and so they have their systems on paper, but I think a form is always more accessible, that's
Well,
what she
and
said.
it's easy if you have an app and you have all your tabs up that you're concerned about.
Bring it
Can't
in.
we just transfer the form that you have though, that we've used in the past?
I think it's a lot of PDFs, but I could probably make it a fill-in form.
Yeah, because we have one, this, you just fill in like the date and then what you've done and all
Your
of that.
Excel spreadsheet.
We have that, no, we have
Whatever's-
a MCR